Hi, welcome to the Commando cast. I'm Amy.
And I'm Andrew, and on Friday, the final piece of the Spectre puzzle was spoiled for set 9, so that's what Amy and I are here to talk about today, is the best Spectre team.
Woohoo!
All right, guys. Hey, so welcome to episode 68 of the Commando cast. Today is all about the Spectre. So that was the big news. Was on Friday they spoiled Kanan. So Amy, tell us about Kanan.
I'm super excited just about the whole Spectre team in general.
Yeah.
To play, but Kanan looks pretty cool.
Kanan looks real good. like real good.
He looks pretty awesome, and he's not even a legendary, so the likelihood of getting him is even better, which is better.
Yeah, so Kanan is a 9-point blue hero, obviously. He brings blue to... there's a blue Ezra, but he brings blue to the team. But he's 1 melee, 2 melee, discard, shield, resource, and a blank. Oddly enough, if you're looking for proxy dice to use him, it's the same die as 2-player set Ray. So don't have to make proxy dice. So he's a character Jedi Spectre. So Kanan is Spectre 1, by the way. We're going to be trying to use their call signs as we go through this cast. So, but the big thing with Kanan is his character's point cost is decreased by 1 if you control another Spectre. Do note we had talked previously already about the Spectre cell plot, which is -1 if you have all Spectres. Mm-hmm. Kanan does not require your entire team to be Spectre. It just has to have one other on the team, which is pretty big. And after you activate this character, you may choose a symbol and a die. Then an opponent turns that die to a side not showing the chosen symbol. So it's kind of I've been calling it hidden motive on a stick, and that's not exactly correct. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of serves the same function of it's not on melee anymore, right? So,
right. Yeah.
And interestingly enough, so someone actually had pointed this out in our Facebook discussion, because remember the ruling on turning a die is that a die has to actually be turned. Right, so let's say you have, let's just look at Kanan's die out there, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say Kanan's die is showing a resource. You could do the Kanan thing on that die and call melee, and then it wouldn't be on melee because they couldn't turn it to melee, and they would still have to turn it, so then it wouldn't be on melee or resource. Right, okay. So that's probably not going to come up very often that it matters, but it could, right? So,
yeah.
And then why don't you walk us through his lightsaber, because that's the big sexy here that completes him.
Woohoo. Okay, so Kanan's lightsaber has 2 melee, 3 for 1 melee, a +3 melee, a shield, and a +2 shield, and then a blank. So after an opponent's die is turned, you may turn this die to any side. Then if this upgrade is on Kanan, you may exhaust it to turn one of his character dice to any side. So essentially, activating Kanan allows you to turn one of their dice, which triggers the lightsaber to go off. And
well, remember, and it's even better if they focus or flip one of their die, because then it's not essentially, it is a react, so it happens on their action that you would flip his die. So if this was on Kanan, if they focus a die, you can flip into 5 damage and hit, because then it becomes your action, right? So that's pretty big. His lightsaber, like I'm not a huge fan of 3-cost lightsabers without redeploy, but like this one's pretty good, I think.
Oh, like you could do Kanan's. You're saying not even off of Kanan if they turn a die at any point in time.
They focus a die.
Yeah.
Right, and remember this is a static effect. So after an opponent's die's turn, you may turn this die. You only have to exhaust it to turn Kanan's die. So in theory, you could keep turning the die if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, because you should have hit with it already, probably, right? But I don't know. So I think Kanan's real good. He's an effective 8/11, right? I mean, that's the important part here, because we've been talking about how important Ezra and Chopper are, being at that 8/11 standpoint from like a 5-die start. It's a big deal. So just real quick, we wanted to run down the whole conversation we're having today really is what's this best Spectre team, right? So we want to run just real quick through all the other Spectres. So Hera, you're super excited about Hera. We've already talked about her a bit, so we'll just go through her just real quick. But she's a pilot, and she brings the ghost to the table, right? So when she comes in, you drop the ghost with ambush, which allows you to activate Hera, which allows you to activate the ghost, and then you still have ambush with all those die in the table. But Hera's big thing is that you can spend the 2 resources to ready a vehicle that she pilots. So you can get the resets on the Ghost as long as you're not playing a yellow villain, right? So.
Okay, so the ambush on the Ghost, that's just when you play the Ghost initially. It's not when like every time it activates. It doesn't.
So when you play the Ghost, you can if you have Ghost and Hera, like I said, right? You play the Ghost. You can then, as per the Ghost, activate a Spectre. So you would activate Hera, which would via piloting activate the Ghost, and then those die are in the pool, and then you still have your ambush action.
You get an ambush action.
Right.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Was that the one question you had? Because I know you had some questions on these guys. So.
We had just seen ambush on the vehicle. I just got confused of whether it was ambush only when you played it initially, or like every time it activated, it got ambushed.
It's only when you play the card, just like any other ambush card.
Okay.
Right? But
yeah.
It's just there's a lot of triggers that happen there and they stack, right? But.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I know you're very excited about Hera. We're gonna try and figure out. Now she is the only red Spectre, right? So.
Yes. Yeah. Because Sabine and Zeb are yellow. And
if we're going, and the reason that's important is if we're going rainbow, right? If we're trying to go like a 3 wide weight rainbow, I mean, I think most of the decks we're going to go here are 3 wide teens.
Yeah.
If you're going to go rainbow, you pretty much need to have Hera. And that's if you're maintaining exclusivity for Spectre, right? So, and then of course the last new one for this set is Sabine. Not quite as sexy of a card. Her TIE Fighter's pretty good though, but. So Sabine also has piloting. She has that 2 indirect or 3 indirect if you have a blue, a red, and another yellow. The other yellow is kind of the problem, I think. And then Sabine's TIE is pretty good.
Well, but the other yellow could be like her TIE Fighter, right?
Right.
It could be a vehicle or a weapon.
Right. Yeah. It's just that it's a little harder because I think it means that you generally are going to probably want to play Sabine as your elite.
Okay.
Right. So. But just real quick for the conversation.
Oh, because Sabine's other die could be the other
yellow die. Right. But then, of course, if you double special, then you can only use one of them, right? But,
right.
So we already talked about Spectre Cell, right? But Spectre Cell, if all of your guys are Spectres, you can essentially run with Kanan a 32-point team, right? So the math of the discussion of this becomes pretty big, right? Well, I mean, effectively, right? Because Kanan gives you that extra 1, and then you get 1 for Spectre, so... Right. So Zeb, everybody knows Zeb. He's been around since Legacies. Unfortunately, about to rotate out. So hopefully, when Set 10 comes out in 19 years, we'll get a new Zeb. But he's 14 points, right? So 14 points is a little harder to work with. A lot of people already currently with his buff have been running Ezra, Chopper, and Zeb. So I think it's Elite Zeb and then single Chopper Ezra. Very similar to your K2 droids deck, kind of, right? Except it doesn't give you red, which loses a lot from Chopper's mod because you can't play Salvage Storm. Right?
Yeah.
So, but that's out there and it gives you double yellow removal. So you just go a little heavier into yellow, right? Because you don't lose easy pickings when Chopper dies because you have another target. Right? So that's an option out there. Then we have Ezra from Way of the Force, who's just, I mean, he's not bad. 8/11. Everybody keeps... Ezra has historically had bad art in this game. I actually think the blue Ezra art's fine. But he's 8/11 and he brings another 2 melee sides to the table. He has the same die as Chopper does, right? So if you run those guys in kind of like a 5 die with Kanan, you've got a lot of very similar die on the table. And that, I think, is the discussion we'll have is like, who's your elite, right?
Yeah.
And then we have crappy Ezra for 1 gun, 2 gun, disrupt, discard, resource. I'll have to read it because I don't remember what this guy does. So if you play blue on him, right, but you can resolve dice in a player's pool that has used to claim the battlefield this round as if they're in your pool. That's right. So, but 9/12 for 8. I mean, his ability potentially is really good, but I don't know why anybody, if you're playing him, would set themselves up for that. So that rounds it out with the 3 new guys. So remember, Kanan is Spectre 1, Hera is Spectre 2, Chopper is Spectre 3. I think Zeb is, I forget who 4 and 5. I think Zeb's 4 and Sabine's 5, and then 6 is Ezra, because he was the last one to join the team. So that's kind of how we'll be talking. So what I'm doing right now is a table that I put together with a bunch of combinations. So we'll keep referring back to this table as we go through the discussion. So the main thing that I thought was interesting when I started sitting down and doing a lot of the math on this was Spectre Cell is actually really hard to use because, like, when you start doing
that's
this,
what you were saying.
You end up at like 30 a lot, or you end up at 29. So you actually don't need, right? Because with Kanan.
Yeah.
So, and I do want to note that I'll flash it up again. But for this table, all of Kanan's points are assuming that he's with another Spectre, which makes sense for the point of this discussion, right? So he's 8-11 for the purpose of this table. So the first team I have is what I'm showing here, which is Ezra, Chopper, and Kanan. So one thing to note, every single one of the Spectres has every single one of them has a 3-cost elite, like a 3-cost die for elite, right? So they're 8-11, 9-12, 10-13, 11-14, all of them, right? So in these discussions, right, for example, in this, the 5 die, we have to pick who the non-elite is. Because they're all really interchangeable. Like, you could run one Ezra, dual Chopper, dual Kanan, right? Or any combination thereof. So that's, I think, the combination here is, I like the look of this. I would prefer to have 2 yellows in this case. But I don't know. This brings 5 pretty good die to the table. I mean, they're not great with 50%, but they're okay. And it's 25 health, which isn't great. And then again, this is one of those that you actually don't need to use Spectre Team Plot for, because it comes out to exactly 30 with Kanan.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that you play single die Chopper here because you want to try and make him not the target. Because he's
that's what I was.
Turn on your pickings. I mean, and this is, I mean, a lot of this I'm going to default to, because so many of these decks that we're going to look at are so similar to your K2 Droids deck that you've gotten a lot of reps with. So I think you're kind of like the expert of the pair on that. So I mean,
because you don't want to lose Chopper with his ability to play mods for one less, because that really helps you ramp, as well as I was going to say easy pickings is the next one.
Right.
What I like, he would be the. I mean, an 8 isn't that hard to kill. That's also the problem, right? So I mean, I feel like you definitely would want Kanan elite, and then because I love Chopper so much, I would maybe want him to be elite, but especially with like rocket booster and stuff. But then it does make him more of a target, which you want to keep him around for longer. So that one's
I mean,
kind of tough.
The interesting thing about it, right, is I don't know that it hugely matters because all of them have very similar die, but from an Ewok ambush standpoint, right? Remember, Ewok ambush is only your non-elite. So
true. That's true.
Right, so I could even see. So I think I agree with you. I think you want to run Kanan elite, just because he's got more health, just the one more health.
Right.
But I could see an argument for it.
And with adding the lightsaber, right, and being able to flip Kanan's die, like then you have 2 dice to choose from to flip, because hopefully you roll one well, and
because I mean that's I mean you got exactly there, right? So that's the move, is you get Kanan's lightsaber on him. You Ewok ambush him in, you make them flip, and then you can flip your 2 dice and hit for 5. It's a guaranteed.
But you can't Ewok Kanan in if he's elite.
No, you play him non-elite.
Oh, non-elite. Oh,
okay. I probably said elite. You play him non-elite, so you play him single die, put the lightsaber on him, then Ewok ambush, force them to flip, so you get the flips, and then you hit. I mean, that's mean. And you can instigate it. I mean, you can actually instigate it anyway, right? Even if he's elite.
Right. But instigate costs 1 to do, which
I
mean is worth it sometimes, for sure.
So
definitely 1 game.
Like I said, I don't think that's the best move. I think Chopper single is probably the better move. But like I said, I could see the argument for Kanan. I like Ezra's draw is really cool if we can figure out how to get stuff on him. We're definitely playing Yoda's lightsaber in here. We're definitely playing the grappling, right, just for the one costs. So,
well, I mean, if Chopper does go down, you can put the redeploys over on Ezra.
Right. Well, we're certainly playing Ezra's saber and dagger and all the normal stuff that we play, right?
Right.
So, I don't know. So that's one I had come up with. The next one we went. This one was kind of obvious when our discussions, because it's the rainbow pairing. Right.
And it's just exciting because it's all 3 of them.
Right. Yeah. So this is a 5 dice Spectre 1, 2, 3. Right. And then in this case, though, who do you run non-elite?
You have to choose. Well, it has to be Kanan or Hera, right?
No, because they're all
work.
3 points, right? So, because
Oh,
Kanan's an
24
effective
and
8-11,
eight,
8-11,
that's
and then
true.
you're 9,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So it all works out. This one comes to 31. You do have to run Spectre Cell with this, right? So, the mixed damage isn't great, but bringing field medics and potentially the ghost to the table is all pretty good stuff, right? So, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see this one. So who do you think you run? Who do you think you run non-elite in this?
Non-elite. Maybe Hera?
It's kind of what I was thinking too, just because her dice don't match. And,
Right, and if she gets the ghost too, then it's kind of like rolling in 2 at one time, or some other vehicle that you can
Right.
pilot, right? Doesn't necessarily
I mean,
have
I
to be
think you
ghost,
could-
I guess, but
yeah, the problem with running, I was just going to say you could run Sabines. The problem with Sabines is it's a 1+2+2, and the only one you're resolving that with is Hera, right?
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
probably aren't running Sabines in this.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I like the Rainbow, but I think this one's not a great team.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next is this one is also Rainbow, but this one is a 4-die, right? So this is Hera, Sabine, and Kanan, and the advantage here is that you have 2 pilots, and you have multiple gun
so if
sides.
you re-ready a vehicle through Hera, you can.
Well,
pilot it
just
twice.
well, yeah, but it's also just the gun sides with like Sabine's tie, right? So,
Oh yeah.
right,
The plus,
yeah.
Gotcha.
But you're down to 4 die, right? So because you've got a 9, a 9 and 8 for a 17, and then I think you run Sabine Elite here, even though she is
Yeah.
your yellow target. I think you run her Elite just because she's more health, and you want that other die to try to pull off her special. So I think it's single Hera, single Kanan, Elite Sabine. I think. But this is another one of those 30-point teams that you don't actually need Spectre Cell for, right? So
Yeah. When Sabine is the one with 50% damage with her special side
right.
too, so.
So this
Yeah,
one might
that kinda makes sense.
this one might be worth testing because it probably is one of the more fun ones because it makes it a lot easier to use your vehicles, right? So I think this may be one of the more fun ones.
Yeah.
So,
I'd be game for this one too.
yeah. All right, next one I have is kind of a modification on the one that people have already been running, Zeb, Chopper, and Kanan. So, I mean, we kind of talked about that already in terms of it gives you the double yellow, so you can run, like, I would feel comfortable running 2 Entangles in this. I'd feel comfortable running, I mean,
Is
obviously you're
Entangle
running
a spot?
Entangle Spy.
Also?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why, like, a lot of the times you end up running the Guile instead of Entangle, even though Entangle is better,
Yeah.
but because you can't afford to lose the spot, right?
Yeah.
So, but this one, I don't know. So I think in this one, you probably run Zeb Elite, right?
Because Zeb's new point cost is 14 elite.
Yeah, well, 11, 14, yeah. But I think you probably, I mean, just because he's your bigger beef stick, right? Like his,
Right, yeah.
I know both of us have gotten frustrated with Zeb's dice lately, just not rolling that great, but
Yeah.
so, I mean, but again, we have the same problem, no red. But, I mean, some people have already been having success with Ezra version, so I would think this would be better. I mean, Kanan
Yeah,
versus
I mean-
Ezra, like, Kanan's just straight up better.
Yeah.
Like, no question about it, so.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Zeb is good. I mean, if he rolls
Right.
good, he's good. I mean, those 3-for-1s are intimidating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People,
so-
and usually people want to try to take his dice away, so.
And then another one I was playing before we go to the ultimate one. Back on this one, you could because remember Zeb's dice can be resolved as guns. So you could play because this team comes out to 30. So it's Elite, Zeb, Chopper, and then Kanan. So you could throw Hera in here instead of Chopper if you wanted to, and then run. That would be 31 with Spectre Cell. So you can do that as well. And then there's gun sides that can match up. So
Right, yeah.
that one I actually didn't make a graphic for that one, but it's on here. I don't know why I didn't make a graphic for it, but we could do that as well, right? Yeah, I have that. That's line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. I have Elite Zeb, Kanan and then Hera. And then the last one, you could actually run Chopper as well. So you could go yellow. That's the other one, but I don't think that one's very good. I think you want blue because you bring Motive and Pacify to the table. Those 2 cards alone, I think, are worth running blue.
Oh, the one before. Yeah.
Right. So going Zeb, Zeb, Chopper, and then Hera, right, just for red, yellow, I don't think is optimal. I think you want blue. Especially because Kanan's just, I'm in love with Kanan. He's fantastic.
Now, like, I love Yoda's lightsaber. Like,
Yoda's lightsaber
it's
is
no
fantastic.
blanks and it's 1 cost. Like, it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's always on the table.
And so
like, anytime I get it in my hand, I'm like, that's coming down.
We'll tell our deck building secret, but basically every deck we're building these days has 2 Yoda's lightsabers in it because it's so utility for an overwrite, and then you can drop it later. Right? So, like, that's what really is put your K2 droids deck next tier is dropping 2 upgrades turn 1, right? Or potentially 3, right? If they're all 1 cost mods. Or Yodas.
If there's
right. So
yeah.
All right. So then I'm going to be the buzzkill because here's my actual proposal for what I think the best Spectre team is, and it's not a full Spectre team.
Boo.
I think that's fair. But I think the Wookiee Warrior, throwing him into Hera's slot in the Rainbow deck, I think is probably the optimal build on this 5. I mean, of the 5 die builds, I think it's probably the optimal build. The Kashyyyk Warrior not only brings 10 health to the table, it brings your field medics. He's a trooper, so he brings measure to measure for measure to the table. Yeah. You can throw a riot shield on him for 3.
Right, yeah, I was just going to say that one.
Yeah. And I actually wouldn't feel bad running, I know that there's no leaders here, but I wouldn't feel bad running a Quicksilver Baton also for just another 2 drop. The Quicksilver Baton's got a 2 base, a +1, and a +2.
Okay.
So, you don't get the cool thing, because Quicksilver Baton, when you play it on a leader, you get to roll it out. We do that with your Mace deck sometimes, right? But I don't know. It's just more, it's no redeploy, but it's just more good upgrades. So, and then it's overwritable for your redeploys. So,
right. Having those, like, good 1 cost, 2 cost upgrades are so crucial, I think.
Well, with the way that we build for the overwrite, right? Because we play 3 or 4 redeploys in our melee decks, right? And it's Dagger Mortis, Rey's Lightsaber, Ezra's usually, which I know is a 2. But those 2 drops really help her get into her 3s, right? Which is kind of basic Destiny overwrite strategy. But when we're playing melee like this, it becomes very important. What were you going to say?
Yeah, when I was going to say Chopper with the mods, like being able to add the mod, that's 1 less. Helps you ramp into those redeploys as well.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like.
Yeah, and then and that's the other thing is him being red. I mean, again, this was compared to the Hera deck, but it brings Salvage Arm to the table, which is a massive. Like, that card is amazing. So, and you can still Rocket Booster for what it's worth. I know your Rocket Booster has just the 1 gun side, right? It's the 1. It's a 1 base gun, and then it's all indirect sides, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, like a 2 indirect and then a 3-for-1 indirect.
Yeah.
Maybe?
So that 1 gun side, and you're going to resolve it on its own anyway. So it's not bad. So yeah, I don't know. I think this one might be worth trying out. And the interesting thing here is Kashyyyk Warrior's also, the Wookiee's also 8/11, so you could potentially, I think you probably in this case actually still do what we talked about before. I think you run Elite Kanan, you run Elite Warrior, and then you run single Chopper. But again, it puts you in that no fun Ewok ambush place. But, and then hopefully in the next set we'll see some cool stuff given the Warrior's Guardian. In that case, then maybe run Elite or run single die Warrior, but we haven't seen anything with Guardian yet. But there's probably ways. So yeah, I don't know. I think ultimately this was. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I just realized he's 8/11 with 10 health.
Yeah.
Didn't realize he was so high in health.
And his ability, before you resolve one of those characters' character die showing damage, increase value by 1 if he has 6 or more on him. Right. Like, he's not shabby, right? So the Ewoks, I have to kind of walk back something I said earlier. I'm not very impressed, or I said Ewoks, Wookiees. I was not very impressed with the Wookiees as an archetype, like 5 die Wookiee, 4 die Wookiee. I'm not impressed with them on their own. But as a filler, this Kashyyyk Warrior is starting to find himself into a lot of decks that I've been playing with. just being an 8 cost with 3 damage sides.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, they're not huge damage sides, but then he has 10 health to go with only being 8 cost.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, of the stuff that we've gone through, which decks do you like the best here?
well, I'm just most excited probably about the Hera Chopper Kanan and
Hera Chopper Kanan.
Sabine Kanan, just because.
Okay,
it's just
so if you had to
the
pick
theme,
one,
and
do
they're
you
just
go
fun.
do you go Chopper or sorry, not Chopper? Do you go Spectre 1, 2, 3, or do you go Spectre 1, 2, 4?
I feel like right now I would say 1, 2, 3, only because I've been playing the KT droid so much with Chop, and like I like Chopper a lot. So I think like from a comfort standpoint, I would probably, it wouldn't take a lot of learning to get down with that deck. The Hera Sabine Kanan, where you're adding in more vehicles, like doing just kind of
very
more
different
things
deck.
that are different than how I usually play.
Right.
Would just take a little bit more practice, and like, would I really enjoy it? I'm not sure. 100%,
I think getting the ghost on the
'cause
table is going to be pretty
usually
cool.
I play a little different, but I'm super excited to try the Spectre team. Like, I hope we get all of them.
Fingers crossed for Hera and the ghost in our boxes. So.
Yes.
Well, we'll get Sabine's a rare. We'll get Sabine. We'll get Kanan. No problem there. If we somehow get super unlucky in our boxes, we'll be able to draft them, right?
Right.
Or snake draft them, right? So
Yeah.
But yeah, getting because the ghost is legendary too.
Right. I know. That one I noticed. I didn't realize that Hera was a legendary also originally.
Yeah. But I think for most of our decks, I think we only need one Hera. So that's nice. But
So
I think we need
that's
2
one to
ghosts. That's the problem. But anyway, actually you could in this piloting version, in theory, you could play single to go 3 dice start and have armored reinforcement and pull ghost. Because armored reinforcement's a 3 cost plot, and then you can pull ghost and drop it for 2. It's an idea. Start getting your shield engine on. Actually, I kind of like that.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, because then essentially you're starting with 4 dice.
Yeah,
And one of them can't get
but you're
killed.
down 2 resources. Well, one of them can definitely get killed. That's the whole desperate measures discussion, right?
The vehicle?
Yeah, desperate measures blow up the vehicle, right?
Oh.
That's why this. Yeah, I forgot. That's why this sets in. We'll see how this set comes out. So, so off topic real quick, and then we'll wrap this up and get out of here. But I was just talking to James from Dice of Failure this afternoon, before we were shooting, and I let him in on my proposal on how we should fix desperate measures, which is destroy a non-piloted support, so that if you're right, it still gives them it doesn't change the card much because it still gives them a window to blow it up. But like once Hera starts piloting it or the ghost, you can't blow up the ghost until it lands again at the next turn, right? So I think that might be an interesting little change to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then because that's the problem with Hera, right? Like, let's say you roll her in, you bring her in, you roll in the ghost, and then you reset the ghost, and then they blow up your ghost for 3 indirect. That feels real bad. Right. So at least you could have that protected, and you wouldn't have wasted your 2 resources. So I don't know. I think that might be an interesting change, but I'm not Jeremy. So,
so we'll see.
Yeah. So. All right, that's pretty much it. We are excited. Unfortunately, about 3 hours before we shot this was the announcement that the set's not going to come out on the 17th as expected, but we have our pre-orders in anyway, so we're getting our 3 boxes this time, 1 extra box, because we won our Spectres. So
get them when we get them.
Yep.
At this point.
So, yep. Amy and I are a huge fan of Rebels. Looking forward to our Spectre decks. What are you guys looking forward to play? Let us know. That Kashyyyk Warrior deck, actually, I think might have legs, so we'll see if we can get that on the table after Amy has fun with her actual Spectres. So, I don't know. What else do you got? What are you looking forward to this week?
I don't know. I mean, I was really looking forward to the new set coming. I'm actually pretty bummed about it because I've been getting a little bit bored. But I enjoyed playing Zeb, Ayla this last week. So
The built to last. Yeah, our game actually went up. This will go up Wednesday, and our game went up Monday morning.
Okay.
The one that you and I played after the tournament. So
Yeah.
people have gotten to see that already at this point. But that's a fun little deck.
So I enjoyed playing that, so I'll probably play the same thing again this next week.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Just have something a little different and new to play with until the new set comes
Instead
out.
of your bad droids, as Mike likes to call them. So,
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, I'll see what I'm running this weekend. I'm really excited to get Thrawn on the table, but I need that Praetorian Guard to come out. So I guess I'm another month out-ish on Thrawn too. So I don't know. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me. It was fun to have the Spectre discussion. We don't get to see you on here very often anymore. So, but thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah. No
So,
problem.
all right, guys. Let us know in the comments what you guys are thinking, and always like, subscribe. Go Commando.
Go Commando.